Us, greetings, peace, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jordan Malik, and this video is my first video officially introducing myself to you watching this and introducing my channel. I really hope that this video will really give like a basic overview and introduction to not only myself and my background, but also what I have in store for you watching these videos, the type of content I want to put out, the goals I might have for what I want to show you, and really just sharing my martial journey with you. So with that being said, a little bit about me. Like I said before, my name is Jordan. I've been training the martial arts for about 8 years now. I started when I was 14 in Wing Chun Kung Fu because, like many young men and kids, I grew up sort of idolizing Bruce Lee, of course, you know, one of the legends. And I was always the one to do a lot of research on whatever I did. Growing up, I was always into something, but whenever I would get into something, I would get into it hard, and I would really like be about that thing. So it was, if I was into anime for a time being, you know, I was watching like 5 animes at once. Like I kind of do things to the extreme a little bit. But when I came across Bruce Lee, I started watching his movies and all this stuff. And that really came from the people around me, like the older men around me, like my uncles. I always watched kung fu movies with my father, those type of action movies that I was always around and grew up on. It really stuck with me. So around my teenage years, around 14, I really decided to take it a step further and to actually sort of embody in my own life the things that I saw and idolized in the character of Bruce Lee, as he was as a person, as a martial artist, as an icon. And he really inspired me to start my own journey and to truly find my own self and my own individuality within myself. Was never really a type of kid that, you know, really fit in, you could say. I feel like everybody says that nowadays. Oh, I didn't fit in, I got bullied, blah, blah. Everybody goes through those things. But I truly felt that for a long time, I was kind of like an outcast and didn't really have like a home in of myself where I had something where I felt like belonged to me, but also that I belonged to. I've always played sports, always was into art, various different anime, manga, Japanese culture in general. When it comes to media, always big into that stuff. I was a nerd pretty much, but I never really had something that I could call me totally. I was describing myself as an athlete, a nerd, blah, blah, blah. You know, all these labels that were given to me, but never really came truly from within myself until I found martial arts. So going back to that, upon researching Bruce Lee, I figured out that his first martial art was Wing Chun Kung Fu, which is one of the early forms of Kung Fu created by a woman, actually, which I found was astonishing. Just the history of that. If you have time on your own, research the history of Wing Chun Kung Fu. I know it's popularized over the years through Ip Man movies and all that stuff, but really understand the history because I feel like it's really beautiful. So anyway, back to me. I started that, did that for a couple years. I really loved it, and it was an internal chi-based martial art, soft martial art. It wasn't really hard or aggressive that you would think from, you know, the term martial art. But I'm really appreciative that I started in internal martial art instead of something like karate or wrestling or Muay Thai like most people do. I think it really gave me an understanding of my inner energy and really the discipline mentally and spiritually to really follow through with my martial journey. So that had a profound effect on me. From there, though, I was obviously going through puberty. I was maturing. I was finding my way, entering high school. I was playing football at the time, around 14, 15, and I became a lot more aggressive, and I was dealing with a lot of emotional things, personal things at home, and just in general. And I was really kind of really trying to find a family or someplace like I belonged. And through that, I had football, I had basketball, swimming, all these things through school, but I've always wanted something for my own self. I wanted to stand out and have something I can call my own. So I had Wing Chun Kung Fu and I was practicing that, but I wanted to do something else that was different. So I joined the MMA gym, one of the local gyms in the next town over, one of the Henzo Gracie facilities actually. I tried there for a month, and it was great. It was a steep learning curve, but I really enjoyed it. The physical aspects of mixed martial arts, wrestling, Muay Thai, kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu especially. Like, I felt like I was actually learning practical fighting and combat martial skills that I felt like I was kind of craving for a lot of my teenage years. Did that for a month though, and I had to stop because I had to go visit family in Jamaica for a time being. And while I was down there, I kept on my training. I was always big into fitness, so I put together a training regimen where I would swim, hit the bag, do my techniques, shadow box a little bit. I never had nobody to spar with down there, but I did that and I ran. And that was my training regimen every single day when I was down there. And then I would kick the occasional banana tree or whatever. And so I was really trying to build up my body physically so that it could be combat ready. And came back that summer after I visited. And what did I start? I was looking for MMA, but I also had a deep fascination with karate. But not like karate that you see a lot nowadays. More so the traditional karate, like Okinawan karate, such as Shitoryu, Shorin-ryu, Shotokan, Goju. Those type of traditional styles I was really craving and looking for. I didn't particularly find it, but I did find a dojo that was in my hometown that was ran by actual like black people, melanated people. So I felt, you know what I mean, that there I had a sense of not only, individuality through training martial arts, but also a sense of community and family, because this specific dojo really instilled in me a lot of the philosophies I have about life, spirituality, and really combat. Yeah, it really taught me how to get out of the mindset of fighting, but more so survival, which I thought was essential me coming up as a so-called black male in America. We have a lot of things out here that are set up as traps, and we have to fight in many different ways, not even just physically. And I felt that really prepared me for that. It really primed me to come into myself as a young black man. So I trained there for the better part of 2 or 3 years. I graduated, and while I was there, I didn't make it too far up rank, but I did learn a plethora of different martial arts, because it was a karate school, but it was more so sort of like a mixed martial arts school as well. We learned traditional kata from Shotokan, but at the same time, we also learned things like boxing, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, grappling, wrestling, kabuto, which is weapons, all types of things. It was really like an all-encompassing martial experience. The dojo actually, for those of you who do know, was actually the dojo that Michael Jai White actually trained in when he moved to up to where my town really, and because he's from Connecticut, and he trained there and taught there while he was in his college years. I missed that opportunity to train with him, but there was always pictures up on the wall of him and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just add that in there because I thought I was pretty proud of that. So yeah, after that, after training there, I had a lot of fighting experience because we sparred a lot. We sparred heavy. That was one of the biggest concentrations at that particular school. And after that, I had sort of like, a taste for competition, a taste for fighting in me that I wanted to quench a lot. So I decided, that was around the time I graduated high school, and I was looking for a college to go to. And I was always an athlete, like I said, so I was getting recruited by a couple D3, D2 schools for swimming and football, my two sports. But I ended up making the decision to not play sports in college, and instead I pursued martial arts full time. And that was probably the turning point for me personally in my heart that really initiated me completely on my martial journey, because before it was just something I did on the side as a hobby. Like it was like my third season. Fall was football, winter was swimming, and then spring come around and I'm doing martial arts. That was like my third season, but then it became a year-round thing for me. And I learned to really accept it, not only as something that was a part of my life when for fitness, but also a part of my life in all facets of my life, because I was actively seeking it out in my day-to-day. How does this apply to that? How does this technique, help me when I'm doing yard work, or like, you know what I mean? The mental concentration you get, or toughness that you get from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, being under like a 200, 300 pound person, and you have to like wiggle your way out of that. How does that correlate to the claustrophobia that you might feel when you're on stage, performing on the court, the field, whatever? I was really starting to apply it to my life, and I wanted competition. I wanted to test myself, very much so. I've always felt this need to test myself, and I got that when I joined an MMA gym in the other town over. I was traveling a lot for martial arts, and I started college, and I was commuting from my local college, university, to this gym, studying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu primarily, but also heavy into kickboxing and other things that they offered there. I trained there for a year, and I got to taste a little bit of competition, but not really, because I was on their fight team, for their MMA team, and I didn't have a blue belt, and their rule was they require only blue. You have to have at least a blue belt to represent them in a ring, in an amateur fight. So I never got my chance to get in the MMA ring. I never have to this day, but I have trained with guys that have gone in there for pro and amateur fights. I've been their sparring partners. I've done the whole training camp thing. I've seen the rigors of that sport, and I have the utmost respect for mixed martial arts, boxing especially, and kickboxing. But I never got to train. I never got to compete in those two sports specifically. But while I was there, I trained in mainly MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was concentrating on grappling. I wanted to do grappling tournaments. I did one. I did pretty well. And but I always loved striking. I was a striker. And I feel like my growth as a fighter and as a martial artist was kind of becoming like sporadic, and it was like I was approaching a crossroads where I had to choose which kind of path as a martial artist that has trained so many different styles before, and that I had to come in my own heart and say, okay, where can I really concentrate and most of my energy to, and really master, what area really can I master? Because I was always the type of person where I was like, I like karate, I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I like it all. Let me just go to this gym, that gym, train it all together, try to mix it on my own, you know what I mean? But I can't do that when you can't really do that as well when you reach certain parts of your life. I'm learning to make it work now, but in college it was very hard. So that was on my mind heavy, on my heart. I felt like I needed to pick a style. I don't know why I got into this mindset, but I felt like I was kind of a jack of all trades, and I wanted to become a master of at least something, you know what I mean? At least in my personal self definition of mastery. And I transferred universities, went to a bigger one where they had a lot of martial arts clubs. And then from there, I joined, my first semester, I joined almost 5 different clubs. I joined boxing, I remember, Muay Thai kickboxing, MMA club, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, karate, which is Shotokan, traditional karate, which is the original karate I was looking for, and capoeira. Capoeira. And that first semester really taught me, really confirmed that I need to concentrate on a couple different styles or one different style, because the energy wasn't there. I wasn't able to really balance my own life and my martial arts training. So what I did was I started karate. I started focusing on karate and capoeira, and like I would go to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu MMA club on the weekends because that was just something that I wanted to keep in my skill set. But I focused on Shotokan karate. I got up to a couple ranks, still a white belt, and then for some reason, after my first year at the new university, I stopped going to the club because I really got really hooked on, believe it or not, capoeira. Around that time, I was really still kind of searching for my own identity, which I feel like a lot of college students, a lot of young people are. And I kind of found a little bit of it through capoeira, which is, for those who don't know, is an African Brazilian martial art created in Angola, but transferred from the slaves that got brought over from Angola, the Africans that got brought over to Angola to Brazil. And when they were slaves there, they used this combat system, this martial art of capoeira, to break free from their masters by disguising it as a dance, but also like training for, actual combat. And they would use it to escape and, fight of their oppressors. And I resonated with that a lot. A lot of the stuff that I was going on around me in my environment, in my mind and in my heart, I felt like it kind of embodied that, mixed in the martial arts, and mixed in, the so-called Black history, that was always deep into my identity as a person. And I really felt empowered by it, so much so that I kind of dropped all my other martial arts training for a time being, and for the next 2 years up until I graduated, or the last semester before I graduated, I was doing nothing but capoeira. I literally lived the capoeira life. I was going to bachizados, trying to find open hodas so I can play, you know what I mean? Doing all types of stuff so I can immerse myself in that culture. And when I became the president of the club and I was doing stuff, I was really trying to push capoeira to everybody I knew that, I think that I thought would benefit from it the same way I did. And through that, I feel like I kind of lost my own sense of myself, ironically, more so in the way of my goals as a martial artist. Like, I started martial arts to, really become proficient in a skill set in a martial art, to find myself within that practice, and also to test myself and to compete. And I wasn't really feeling like I was getting competition or tested as much in capoeira, just by the nature of the martial art and of the community. So my last semester before I graduated college, I said, it was after a lot of things I went through in college. I was going through a lot too around that time, like everybody is. Shout out to the 20-somethings that's going through school right now, because it's hard. I know the struggle, trust me. But I kind of reached rock bottom. I would say my junior year, end of junior year. A lot of things happened over the summer that really made me reevaluate my whole life and what I was doing. And it came to a point where my last semester, I told myself that I need to get back to who I am at the core of me and what the things I do that I love. And that was to get back to martial arts training, more traditional, more competitive martial arts training. So for that last semester, I was still doing capoeira club, still running it, still teaching capoeira, because I had gotten a little bit proficient to run a club and teach there some days. And then I also picked up karate back up, the traditional Shotokan. I attained my my green belt, my 6th Kyu. I came back, tested, and got right back into it, and graduated, and that's where I am now. I'm a recent college graduate, and I'm a martial artist. So that's kind of been my journey up until this point for the most part overall. Starting from a kid that, just wanted to train martial arts because they love Bruce Lee, to, a young adult now who's trying to come into their own as an adult and a martial artist, and trying to merge those two, merge martial arts into their, professional life. And that's really what this channel is really about. It's about me sharing my journey with you through content that I'm going to release, and really just me growing as a martial artist by documenting my training, but also creating platforms to help other people along their own journeys, whether it be martial arts, whether it be fitness, whether it be life in general. That's really what I want to do. And I'm not a master in anything. I don't proclaim that title. I've trained in many different martial arts. I have a lot of knowledge in different things, but I am by no means a guru or teacher or none of that. You know what I mean? This is just me and my journey I'm trying to share with you. But as far as that's my background. So as far as like my goals and hopes for this channel, regarding the content that I'm going to release, it's going to be mostly martial arts, obviously based, but it's going to have a strong emphasis on fitness. So fitness has always been a part of my life. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been an athlete. And I feel like when it comes to traditional martial arts, which is normally what I train, I feel like the fitness aspect is kind of not really emphasized as much as it used to be back in the day with a lot of these different traditional styles. There's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of schools and places of traditional martial arts that still keep those ideals of fitness and becoming, making your body a weapon, you know what I mean, and everything. But I feel like for me, from what I see along my journey in my life, I want to make that more of an emphasis when it comes to traditional martial arts. So I'm going to be mixing a lot of fitness, a lot of my knowledge from my education, which was health and fitness in general, into my martial arts content that I'm going to be releasing. So definitely, if you resonate with me, anything that I disclose to you about my personal journey, my life, my hopes and dreams for this channel, please feel free to subscribe. Let me know. I respond to, obviously, anybody that messages me. Don't be negative. Probably won't respond to that, obviously. But what I'm really asking for is for you to ask me what you want to see, because I'm very new to sharing social media in general, as far as like using it as a platform to showcase my skills. Obviously, I have personal accounts, but this is going to be my platform for martial arts and fitness. So if you have any questions for me, any requests of what kind of videos you want to see, or even questions about me and my personal life, because I haven't disclosed everything, but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to share a little bit more about my journey in this life, this martial life. Please let me know, drop comments, hit me up on the inbox. You can follow me at Martial Flow Fitness on Instagram and YouTube. Subscribe, like, and yeah, hopefully this will give you a background as far as who I am. Again, my name is Jordan, and I really hope to grow with you, and I hope that you enjoy and take away from the content that I have for you. Peace and love. Us. See you later.